Welcome all. Today we are going to see about important interview questions related to NoSQL. So first, what is NoSQL? NoSQL means not only SQL. It refers to a database designed for flexible schemas, high scalability, and large volumes of distributed data. So flexible schema here means you can have, if it is a SQL, you need to have a predefined table with the rows and columns. The flexibility means if in your documents or in your e-value, it doesn't need a predefined schema. It is not a mandatory. That is what here means flexible schemas. High scalability. So if in related to NoSQL, you can horizontally scale the scale the nodes. You don't want only depend upon vertical scaling. So large volumes of distributed data. So NoSQL, the distribution of data is very easier compared to SQL. This is made what is NoSQL. Okay. What are the main types of NoSQL databases? If it is NoSQL database, there are different types it's available. One is document based. That is example is MongoDB. It looks like store data as JSON like documents. And Redis. Redis is also we used mostly in caching. It used for catching user session or cache related data. It is a key value pair. And column family stores data into columns, group of columns, row, good for huge data sets. In IoT data, in telecom, in a lot of places I have noticed Cassandra, MongoDB and Cassandra, Redis, all three are used mostly in the enterprise related application. And then graph stores nodes plus its relationships. It is widely used for social media and its friendship related things there. The next one comes NoSQL versus SQL. What is the difference? SQL database typically use structured tables. As I already told, it has a structured tables, fixed schemas. It supports the primary key and foreign key and making joins all very straightforward. Asset transactions. It supports asset transactions. NoSQL database generally provide flexible schemas. The schema flexibility is one of the greatest advantage, and horizontal scaling, which is we already discussed, and specific data access patterns. The way we need to access the data patterns are very important here. SQL and non-SQL has this difference the way we are accessing the data. So what is horizontal scaling? So horizontal scaling is nothing but increasing the number of nodes. Vertical scaling means in the same node, I can increase my memory, CPU, all the capacity of my node. Horizontal scaling means I can increase the number of nodes. Okay, that is horizontal scaling. What is sharding? Sharding divides data across multiple servers based on shard key, allowing the database to distribute storage and workload. Sharding is nothing but whenever it comes to a distributed systems, if you have multiple nodes, the way how you store the data into a multiple nodes is mainly called as sharding. So it is based on a shard key. What are the ways that shard key can be stored? One is related to the range. For example, if I have users document, I can store 1,000 in one server, second 1,000 in another server, the third 1,000 it's another server. So the range is called as short key. In another way, it can be like a hashing mechanism. Mainly, you have seen lot of places whenever we do the distributed system, hashing is one of the most used way in storing the data in a distributed application. And the third comes the uh, geographic based sharding, where based on the location you can distribute this data and store it. What is replication? Replication is nothing but sharding means different each individual data how it is distributed along the system. Replication means if node A has one data, how it is stored in another server as a backup or secondary information, where the primary will be this one and the secondary. It is mainly used for the availability, fault tolerance, and sometimes read performance. So if one of the servers down, how the data will be available in another server. So it avoids the availability and fault tolerance. There are scenarios where you can do parallel reading in the primary and secondary. That's what you have mentioned. What is CAP theorem? CAP theorem, we all know: consistency, availability, and partition. CAP says that in the presence of network partition, a distributed system must choose between consistency and availability. Partition tolerance is generally required in distribution system. So partition tolerance is always there in the distributed system. When this consistency and availability problem will occur is when node, three nodes are there and three node has a good communication and good track sharing of data and fetching of a data, there is no constraint. When one node goes, the node A data needs to be reflected. There should be primary and secondary. At that time of period, the design should clearly decide based on the business scenario where we need consistency, where we need availability. So if I need the right data, even little late response, I need consistency. Availability, I need the data, even if it is little old, it's okay. I need the data immediately. That is called availability. What is eventual consistency? As I told that, it means that after an update, different replicas may have different values, but they will eventually converge to the same state. So when the sharing of data has happened between the nodes, eventually the consistency will come. That is meaning of that. When would you choose NoSQL over SQL? So NoSQL can be good choice when you need very large distributed data. When you have a lot of distribution in the data, you need flexible or changing data structure. My data structure was not so consistent at that period of time. High read or throughput. High read or throughput is based on the data model. It is not always. Okay. Horizontal scalability, we explained already. Low latency access for specific query patterns. Based on the query patterns, the latency will be low compared to the SQL. So here we can see some examples. See when we can use SQL, when not to use SQL. Complex relationship, like in a banking system, I have an account, I have my transaction. So these kind of things you can use SQL. Strong transaction, money transfer between accounts, because I need to roll back if my one of the transaction is fail. If I want to do debit and credit, if debit is successful but credit is failure, I want to do my rollback. At that period of time, we can use SQL. We have seen several times. Flexible schema is NoSQL. Massive horizontal social media. So flexible schema is mainly based on product catalog with different attributes. For example, in Amazon, I have thousand of product. Thousand product has thousand different kind of fields. So I can't create differ for each table for each product, which is so dynamic. I can add or remove product. For that purpose, we can use NoSQL. So massive horizontal scale, social media with the millions of users. For very high throughput, IoT devices sending data very millisecond pulses, you can use NoSQL. Ad hoc and complex queries such as salary or employee reports, wherever, if you see very clear, wherever the relationship joins are there, you are using SQL. Where there are independent data, we can store in a single document, you are using NoSQL. Simple, predictable access at Q scale, NoSQL. Gaming leaderboard user profiles. So what are the disadvantages of NoSQL? Depending on this database, challenges can include limited or different transaction capabilities. All the transaction capabilities on SQL is not available in NoSQL. Data duplication. So the mainly, if in SQL you have product table, order table, separate tables for each one. To avoid the relationship factors, mostly in NoSQL, we have most of the data in a single document. At that time of period, you may have lot of duplication. You have a lot of responsibility in the application level. How to do joins, how to do all these things, complex ad hoc queries, weaker standardization across database. Standardization is nothing but the structure tables, all these things are not so standardized like SQL. So SQL can be used for a specific different business scenario. No SQL can be different scenario. Each has its own advantages and disadvantages. That is the main concept here. Thank you. If any queries or anything, please let me know. I would like to answer it.